You know that feeling when you're scrolling online trying to figure out if your job is actually toxic? You read all these lists and you tick a few boxes, but you're still left feeling just more confused. And you end up asking yourself this exact question. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to get to the real heart of what's going on. Because here's the thing, most of the content out there on this topic, it can actually leave you feeling more uncertain, feeling stuck in a job that's just slowly draining the life out of you. So today, we're going to look in a completely different place. But before we dive in, just a quick disclaimer. This is all for educational and informational purposes only. Every single situation is unique, so this is definitely not legal advice. Our goal here is simply to help you understand workplace dynamics a bit better so you can make informed decisions for yourself.
Right. So what is the fundamental problem with all those toxic workplace checklists that you see everywhere online?
Well, the first thing they don't tell you is that there aren't just 10 signs of a toxic workplace. There are literally hundreds. And we're all familiar with the usual suspects, right? Poor communication, endless gossip, micromanagement, constant conflict, difficult managers. These are the classic external things we're told to watch out for. But here is the crucial point. A lot of these things exist, at least to some degree, in almost every single workplace. So just spotting one of them doesn't automatically mean your job is toxic. It's not that simple. And this brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer. The real, undeniable signs of a toxic workplace, they aren't always external. They actually show up inside of you. So instead of focusing on all that external noise, we need to start tuning into our internal compass. That means looking at your stress levels, your confidence, and how your own behavior is changing. Because a truly toxic environment does more than just create a few difficult moments here and there. It fundamentally changes who you are and how you feel, day in and day out. So let's talk about the signs that actually matter. Because long before your mind is ready to admit it, your body knows something is wrong. The first sign is that your body is physically carrying the stress. Maybe it's that constant tension in your shoulders or frequent headaches. It could be that jolt of anxiety you get when a certain name pops up on your screen or your heart racing before meetings. When your body is constantly in fight or flight mode, that is a major signal. And then there's your sleep. You finish a completely exhausting day. You lie down and your brain just will not switch off. You're replaying conversations, thinking about what you should have said. This kind of disruption is one of the most common signs of chronic workplace stress. Now, let's look at how this builds. Beyond that physical toll, our minds start to develop coping mechanisms, and these behavioral changes are huge red flags. A really big one is how you cope after work. Do you find yourself just endlessly scrolling on your phone, binge watching shows just to switch off? Maybe it's stress eating or a little too much online shopping. We use all these distractions to try and decompress. And there's a very clear reason for this. Your brain is desperately trying to create little moments of relief. Those quick dopamine hits after a stressful day. But the problem is, this doesn't actually fix the root cause of the stress. Sign number 4 is dread. Look, we all get the occasional Sunday night blues. That's normal. But this is different. This is when you wake up every single day with that heavy thought in your mind. When dread becomes part of your daily routine, your body is telling you something really important. And perhaps one of the most damaging signs of all is what happens to your confidence. Maybe you used to speak up in meetings and share ideas freely, but now you find yourself second-guessing everything, staying quiet, and overworking just to prove your worth. That shift is a major, major red flag. And the signs don't stop there. Maybe you feel completely isolated. Or you've become hypervigilant, constantly on edge, anticipating problems. You might even start to believe that all workplaces are this toxic. And a really common one is secretly hoping for something like a redundancy to force you out simply because you feel so trapped. And this brings us to the final and perhaps the most powerful sign. Just think about it for a second. People in supportive, respectful workplaces don't spend their free time trying to figure out if their job is toxic. The very fact that you are searching for answers is in itself a signal that something isn't right. So if several of these internal signs really resonated with you, the next logical question is, okay, what do you actually do next? Well, the reality is a toxic workplace culture usually starts at the top, and unfortunately, you often can't fix it alone. The focus has to shift. You can't fix them, but you absolutely can protect yourself and start planning your own next move.
So here is a clear path forward. First, trust your feelings. Your internal compass is telling you something for a reason. Second, you have to actively protect your well-being. Third, start to strategically plan your exit. And fourth, and this is so critical, find support. You do not have to go through this alone.
So if this explainer resonated with you today, please don't struggle alone. The most important step is to find support, whether that's a trusted friend, a professional, or a career coach. To continue the conversation, we'd love for you to tell us in the comments, have you ever worked in a toxic environment?